mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. In the black community, well, we're massively overrepresented in the mental health institutions, even more so than in the prisons. And again, these are questions we have to ask. Well, why?
You know, but once you get a control and an understanding of who you are, no one can use you against you. No one can ever use your mental illness against you. You've already spoke about it, so what you got?
The biggest point in life to resolve mental health is like giving a fuck about a person.
Where did you get the courage? I got the courage for 2 words. I care.
It's Chill Will Radio, where connections will be made, advice will be given, jokes will be told, and things will get real. My name is Willis Cooks, and I'm your host. But understand this show is not meant to be used as a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Enjoy the show, y'all. Yo, what's the deal? What's poppin', man? What's going on, peoples? What's going on? Let me get these levels right. Make sure everything is okay and all fine and dandy. I hope everybody's doing swell on this Sunday evening. What's like a word between like afternoon and evening? Is that like a time or like a specific word? We got morning, afternoon, but what about... I don't know. Anyway, what's the deal, man? Welcome to another episode of Chill World Radio, man. Glad to be back. I was here last week. I don't know how I'm feeling right now, to be completely honest. Work today was crazy, man. I was speaking to a coworker this week. I think it was like either Tuesday or Thursday, and we were just talking about, social work and stuff, and she was like, there's a lot of memes out there when it comes to people and mental health, and a lot of tips and a lot of posts and quotes, and take care of yourself and do self-care and look out for yourself and make sure your day is great and check up on a friend and blah 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 and all these extra things. And she was like, there's all these things, but like, who check up on the social workers? Like, who check up on the therapist? Like, and that's 100% true, because we work in a field in which obviously burnout is 100% true, but we work in a field in which it'll cause us to get extremely nonchalant about many things that would seem like, what the fuck about? One of my jobs, let's say at the psych hospital, the things that go on at the psych hospital will freak people out, right? When we have a patient shit in their hand and smeared on the wall, that would freak people out, right? When you have a patient that's black as hell, that is like darker than me, but saying, I hate black people and our Princess Diana is like crazy, right? When you have a patient that just walks in there and just all he does for a living and just knocks people out, he just, I don't like you. He's gonna punch you like, and that's not even the worst of the worst type of patients that we have. But patients like that in that field, that would freak people out. But to me, it's just like, Same when you're working in a medical hospital and you are, let's say, a nurse or you're a social worker or whatever, right? You become really numb to a lot of the things that go on within that field, because it becomes, I don't want to say life, but it just becomes the work, right? It becomes the work that you're in. For example, like today was tough. Today wasn't really emotionally draining, but today was just like mentally exhausting, right? I didn't do a lot of work today. It wasn't extremely busy, but the things that I had to do to work today was fucking nuts, right? Like today, 9 o'clock, I get in there, cold blue. What happens? A patient dies directly in front of me, right? And to a lot of people, when that happens, they will like kind of tense up or be like, or get sad or whatever. To me, it was because this isn't the first time that someone has died in front of me. To me, I'm just like, damn. Okay. And it's not even the death of that individual, of that patient that made that situation that much harder. It's everything that goes on around it. All of the different variables that goes on around it. You have nurses doing all of these things. You have the doctors doing all of these things. And then you have the family. See, the family was there when this thing had happened. And The family started getting angry. The family started to fight within the room because you have two different peoples with opposing, opinions as to what they think we should do with the person. And, when that comes up and death isn't around and it's about the death of a family member, people start fighting, people start getting angry, people start getting emotional, all of these things. And the first person they call to solve this matter is the social worker. Social worker, come help out with this lady and her mother just died, and provide emotional, help. Social worker, go whatever. Social worker, go do this. Social worker, go do that. That shit is draining, yo. Like, it is very draining because we are always put in a position to where we have to constantly make sure that we are 100% there for that individual who needs it. And sometimes you have to fake it. And a social worker is lying if they have to. A social worker is lying if they say they've never had to fake it just to be able to get through that moment, because it is hard. Sometimes it is draining, and you may not have nothing left in your tank. See, this morning when all of that stuff went on, the patient dying in front of me, then you got the family fighting, and then you got doctors getting cursed out, and then you got nurses who are asking for small little things when all they can do is just read the notes that I put in there yesterday. It gets mad frustrating and irritating, and that makes me go back into what my coworker said a few days ago, like, nobody checks up on the mental health of a social worker, right? Because we got all the tips, we got all the tools and things like that, but it's extremely hard for a therapist to take therapist advice, because a therapist thinks they knows it all. A therapist, unless the therapist is open, but a therapist can think that they know it all, and they got this. We don't need whatever, And then you have certain people who are going to say, like, you a therapist, you should be all right. You a social worker, you should be good. You know what you got to do, blah, blah, blah. When it's like, nah, I know some barbers who don't know how to cut their own head, but they really good with other people's heads, So it's working in this field is difficult because it will cause you to get to a place to where you are numb to a lot of the things that would yield some type of reaction. Is that a good or a bad thing? I'm not sure. But does that put us in a place to where we are going to have to find what to pull up when it comes to, like, let's say our own families, the death within our own family, or the death of a friend, or the death within that? It's kind of like, damn, now I have nothing else to give because I've been giving up everything thus far for a while. And when that happens, that social worker is going to have to take a step back, right? That person or that nurse or whatever is going to have to take a step back. But because of the line of work that we're in, it's not going to allow us to take a step back. It's not going to allow us to kind of give us like self-care days and mental health days. Obviously, people are preaching, take your mental health days, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But people don't take those. I don't take those. Like, don't take those. My girl, she don't take those. Like, and it's a lot of stuff that a lot of us go through. It's a lot of things that you go through. But when it comes to those mental health days that a lot of us preach on, Instagram and things like that, that we should take and all of these things, we don't take them, right? We don't take them because we don't feel as if it is that big of a deal at that moment. We got it. I'll be fine. I'll be good. We're not truly honest with ourselves and how we're feeling at that moment. And because we're not honest with how we feel and how we feel at that moment, obviously we're going to burn out. Obviously we're going to be like, forget it. And we're going to get to a point to where we're just going to be like, it is what it is. And that's the same with me. Like, as of recently, I've been noticing myself getting, I don't want to say burnt out, but overwhelmed. Noticing myself getting overwhelmed, noticing myself not doing certain things that I'm supposed to be doing because I'm the guy who got it. I'm the guy who got everything under control. And you're not going to tell Willis that Willis don't have the time to be able to do something. If Willis don't have the time to be able to do something, it's because Willis didn't want to do it, But I'm getting overwhelmed because it's just it's just internal disappointment, I guess. And that goes into the show, but moving on forward into the self-care piece, right? This goes obviously directly into what I was just saying, but stop being unrealistic about what you can do, right? So the self-care piece that I want everybody to implement within their self-care regimen is to stop being unrealistic about how much you can get done, right? Sometimes you just have to be honest and put that planner down and just be like, yo, I can't do this, right? Sometimes you might have to throw that planner away, right? And just be like, forget it, I can't do it, right? Like my girlfriend, right? She has her whole day mapped out in her phone. It's just, what's she doing? I don't know. Let me check my phone. And it's like, I can't get it. Yeah, I get disappointed because I ain't doing my laundry today. And I was supposed to do it. Like, it's okay that you ain't did your laundry. Like, sometimes we have to be okay with the fact that we didn't get as much done as everything done that we wanted to get done, right? Stop being unrealistic about how much you're able to get done, because what you're doing is you're putting all of these things on that to-do list. Are you checking your my girl's in the back checking her little calendar right now, but stop being unrealistic about how much you actually can do. You're overwhelming yourself, and a lot of us do that, especially myself, right? I recently just quit a job. I just quit a job. The job in Long Beach, the job with kids. Because it was like I was never there. You know, when they would ask me to come in, I would always say, no, I don't have the time. And I just felt like I was letting them down and all of these things. So just like let that go so you don't have that extra expectation or responsibility, right? Because we put all of these things on this plate expecting that you're going to get it done. Like, you're a Superman. You can get all of these things done, and you can divide yourself in 20 different ways and take care of X, Y, Z, and A, B, C, and all of these other stuff. It's not possible, right? Stop being unrealistic about how much you can get done. The way you are able to do that to-do list that you have, cut back on it. Easily cut back on it, because what you're not able to do today, you will be able to do tomorrow. At the end of the day, we always push stuff back anyway. But because we put all of these things on this list, and then once we get to the end of the day, we realize we weren't able to get it done, and then we push it back until the next day, we feel bad that we had to push it back until the next day because we weren't able to get it done at that moment. Try saving you that disappointment by just not putting that one extra thing on that list. Don't put that one extra thing on the list. Move that to Tuesday, move that to Monday, move that to the next day, or just take it off altogether, because you might not need to do it. You probably might just be trying to fill up time, fill up space, and you don't need to fill up space. Like, your space doesn't always have to be jam-packed with things to do, right? I'm the person that says my day has to always be like jam-packed, right? Like today I work from 7:30 to 4, now I'm here from about 4 to whenever this gets done, and then I go home and do whatever. Tomorrow I have work, and then directly after work I have school until about 9:30. Tuesday I have work from 7:30 to 7. Like, every day my day does not end until like 8, 9 o'clock. My day is filled every single day. However, within those days I make sure that I'm able to find little times in which I can just chill. I take hour lunches when I'm not supposed to take hour lunches. I go wash my clothes on the clock. Like, damn, if they hear this, they're gonna fire me. I just snitched to myself low key. But I take those moments for myself because I try to make sure that even though within all of these things that I'm doing, I'm not allowing myself to beat myself up if I'm not able to get certain things done, right? So even though my day is fully loaded, I always try to not overwhelm myself with that day. But here's the thing: you don't want to get in the habit of gradually taking things off your schedule to where now you just don't have anything on your schedule, and now you're just being productive, right? The thing is like performing some form of self-care. It can lead you to a place to where you can be good, and then you're just going to go down this little hill because you're going to get a little bit comfortable within that particular form of self-care, right? Same with this one, right? When it comes to being realistic about the things that you can and can't do, you may gradually if you was getting 5 things done, you're going to go down to 4. Then you may gradually go down to 3. Then you may gradually go down to 2. And now you're just chilling, right? There are a lot of ways in which we could create negative habits. And it is important that we are mindful of when a negative habit is starting to form. So when we are cutting back on things from our list, let's not create a negative habit of just deleting things altogether. Let's not create a negative habit of procrastinating, because that's what happens a lot. Let's not create a negative habit of just always pushing everything back, because if we create those negative habits, things will never get done, right? It's a balance at the end of the day. Everything is a balance. And if you're not able to maintain that balance in a very productive way, it's going to go left. It's going to go left. So the self-care piece I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen is stop being unrealistic about how much you can get done. Be realistic. If you're able to get 3 things done today, get those 3 things done today. And don't feel bad about those 3 things that you got to do today. So, baby, being that she wasn't able to do your laundry last week, it's perfectly fine. Those drawers still stink. Like, it's okay. It is perfectly okay. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. Same for you. That one thing on your list that you have to push to the next day, it'll be there the next day. The world is going to end. But that next day, just make sure you get it done. Because we do not want to create habits of procrastination. We do not want to create habits of pushing things back. We do not want to create habits of just not getting things done. So be very, very careful about how much you push back. Be very, very careful about what you begin to take off your list and how much you take off your list. And be very, very mindful of the things that you are able to get done when you push them back. If you see that you're pushing the same thing back over and over and over and over and over again, maybe you either don't need to get it done, maybe you never really truly needed to get it done. Maybe. Whatever the case is, right? Just be mindful how much you push stuff back, right? So the self-care piece I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen. Stop being unrealistic about how much you're able to get done. All right. So moving on forward into the main topic of the show. And the one thing I want to speak about, today is this whole aspect of being habitually disappointed. Right. It sounds like expectations, and when we put expectations on a lot of people, we're always going to be disappointed, but I want to take it a step further, right? Then a step further than expectations, right? Because a lot of the times what happens is when we become people who are habitually disappointed, it's because we are used to negative things happening to us, right? There are sometimes, we understand things are going to happen to us in our life, right? Like shit is going to happen. That's it, right? Things are going to be bad, right? You may break your toe. You may get broken up. You may fail a test. You may fail your driving test. You may not get to the school that you want to get into. You may not get that job. Whatever it is, negative things are going to always happen to us. Things are never going to be perfect, but also things are never always going to be imperfect. Things are going to be good and bad. But when it comes to it, there are certain people who tend to go through negative things all the time. Well, it appears that they tend to go through things, negative things all the time. We all know someone who we feel like, damn, life just don't like you. Like you always got something going on. This is always bad for you. No matter what it is, it's always bad. And what happens is, especially with that person, is we get so used to negative things happening to us that we begin to build a belief. We begin to build a core belief, right? And that core belief that we are building says that I am not worthy of positive things happening to me. I am not worthy of good things happening to me. I am not worthy of pleasant and wonderful things happening to me. I am unworthy, right? I am only worthy of negative shit. I am only worthy of the bullshit that's going to come in my life. I am only worthy of having toxic friends. I am only worthy of having negative people in my life, right? And because that core belief is built, we personalize it. We take it in. We assume that this is us and this will always be us. Because when positive things begin to come, we run away from it. We push it away. We act like, whoa, why are you here? Like, this ain't, no. Right? You ever came across a person who's so good and now you like, you too good. Like, why are you here? You know, this girl is like, nah, I'm used to like knuckleheads. I'm used to chicks that do me dirty and cheat on me. Why are you here? Like, are you here to, we question the good things because we're so used to the negative things. Because we are not worthy of the good things. We're only worthy of the negative things. And another thing that comes along with that is because negative things begin to happen to us so often, because we built this core belief that we are unworthy of positive things and we are only worthy of negative things, what happens is we give those excuses to negative people for being negative because we believe this negative stuff is supposed to happen to us, right? So let's say our parents are my parent, my mom, my dad, or whatever is treating me negatively because that's what they're supposed to do. Because I'm a negative person. How else is this person supposed to treat me since I'm a negative person? Since I'm retarded. How else is this person supposed to treat me? Right? And no matter what it is, we somehow get pleasure out of it. We somehow get pleasure out of it when that negative person treats us negative because that's the way we believe that person is supposed to treat us. That's the way we believe our relationship is supposed to be. And if it goes any other way, if that relationship goes any other way, we begin to get angry and sad and mad and all of these things. We get relieved when we see negative people come into our life. We're not going to be out there and be like, yes, negative person, blah, blah, blah. But our characteristics, our tendencies, our habits, the way we communicate, how much we soak in, and what we believe about ourselves is going to cause us to be relieved when that negative girlfriend comes into my life, to be relieved when my boyfriend cheats on me because, like, I know I ain't shit as a partner. Even though you may be the dopest person out here, but you believe you're not shit. So because you believe you're not shit, you're going to believe whatever negative thing is coming your way, it is meant for you. And when we get to that place to where we believe things are meant for us, right, we're never going to be able to accept the things that should be meant for us. Obviously, everybody wants to get to a place to where it's peace. Everybody wants to get to a place to where they are peaceful, to where, life is going fine. But the thing is, when we become adults, when we become older, what happens is within our life, we purposely pick the things that are negative to define our life. Because good things happen to everybody. Bad things happen to everybody. But what about your life are you using as evidence to define how good your life is? Right? What about your life are you using as evidence to define how good your life is? Are you only going back towards the negative shit that's going in your life? Are you only going back towards that death or that heartbreak or the times you were homeless or the times your parents didn't want you or your friends was raggedy or you failed at school or you dropped out or you got fired or you got into an accident, whatever it is? What evidence are you picking to define your life? Or are you picking all the positive things? Are you picking the fact that you love yourself? Are you picking the fact that you look good? Are you picking the fact that you're smart? Are you picking the fact that you think outside the box? What positive things are you picking to define your life? But when we are habitually disappointed with many things, we purposely pick all of those negative things to define the reason why we don't need to believe ourselves. Why we're not worthy of the things that we want, which is the positive things. And we all want positive things, but we don't believe we're worthy. So I'm just going to purposely pick the negative things, right? And that happens a lot. And a lot of the times when that happens to us, one of the things that we have to do is ask ourselves, how am I setting myself up to be disappointed? It can be through expectations. It can be through the negative thinking pattern. It can be through the self-sabotaging. It can be through whatever way it is that you're bringing negativity towards your life, right? A lot of the things and a lot of the disappointments that go on in our life are self-inflicted, right? A lot of the things that go on in our life are self-inflicted because everything at the end of the day is just about perspective. You can take that failed SAT test and use that as something dope. right? You can take the fact that you did not get into that school and use that as something dope. You can take the fact that my girl just broke up with me as like, yo, she was crazy, so she just saved me from this heartache, right? You can take it as that, but you're choosing to take it negatively because, one, that's the only way you know how to think. Well, that's the only way you believe that you know how to think. And then two, that's the thing that you believe is meant for you. And it is hard for us to believe or define why positivity should be in our life, right? And sometimes positivity could be overrated because we try to push all of this positive stuff on people, and it's going to make them feel negative for feeling negative, right? It's okay to feel negative. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel sad. We don't want to push so much positivity on people to where they themselves start to feel bad for feeling wrong. We don't want to do that. But we also don't want to overcompensate for the negative things that are going on in our life to where we begin to personalize it, to where we begin to believe that that is us, to where that core belief is built and is formed through the negative things that are going on in our life. We don't want to get to a point to where that's who we are. So obviously everything in life is a balance. Everything in life is a yin and yang. But if you feel that you're too far off into that negative spectrum of being disappointed, and you're always going toward these negative things, and you always believe your life is going to be shit and it's always going to be shit, and you don't believe that you're worthy of anything, one of the true things that you're going to have to do is just two things exactly. But one of the first things is, one, you're just going to have to kind of give in into a lot of the negative things that are happening to you. Give in and just sit in that shit for a bit, right? Sit in that shit for a bit. Give yourself time to think like, okay, this is bad. This is happening to me. You know, this negative thing is happening. But once you sit in that, ask yourself, you know, what positive thing could I pull out of this? It's going to be hard as hell because our brain is going to constantly get back to those positive things. But as I said earlier, we purposely pick the negative things. We purposely pick the negative things to define who we are. And because we are purposely picking those negative things to define who we are, we're never really truly finding the positive stuff in whatever situation that needs to come out of it. Right? So stop and give in to a lot of the things that you are telling yourself. But when you are giving in to those things, ask yourself, what positive things could you pull out of it? Right? Start to write those positive things down, because you're going to have to see the positive stuff in order to get out of the negative, because you only see negative. So start writing these positive things down. You know, it doesn't have to be on a big ass board and all these other things, but do something to where you are being mindful of those positive things. Because just like it took a good minute for you to get into that negative seat, just like you are habitually thinking of negative things, it's going to take a minute for you to get out of it. It's going to take a while for you to get out of it. Hell, it may take you months, years, or whatever it is. You may always get back into it. But once you get back into it, don't beat yourself up for feeling down. Don't beat yourself up for not getting everything done off your list. Don't beat yourself up for being disappointed. Don't beat yourself up for failing the test. Like, because you are supposed to feel bad for that. Right? If you do something that you know you're not supposed to do and you feel bad for it, you're supposed to feel bad for it. And that's okay that you feel bad for it. Like I said, positivity can sometimes be overrated, and we sometimes can push that on the people and make them feel bad for feeling bad. When in reality, give that person time to sit and give in to their shit. But also, after that 5, 10, 15 minutes or however it is, make sure you put something else in front of it to counteract it. Okay? So when it comes to the habitual disappointment, understand a lot of it is based upon the things we are telling ourselves, based upon the self-selected evidence that we are picking within our lives to define and personalize who we are. But also is based upon the belief that we've built. A belief could be built, but a belief could also be destroyed. But the only way a belief is going to be destroyed is if you constantly throw things in there to counteract that belief, to make you see and understand that that belief is false. And you're going to come across a situation in which you fail, you don't do anything right, you get angry at yourself, you become disappointed. But when those times come, it's perfectly good. So moving on forward into that question, the question that I want everyone to ask themselves when you're listening and whenever you hear this part whenever you hear this part. When it comes to the disappointments within your life, what are you doing to set yourself up for those disappointments to come to fruition? What are you doing to put those disappointments in your life? Right? Is it the expectations? Is it the characteristics that you're having, that you're bringing negative people in? What it is? What is it? One of the things that I do, like a lot in that self-care piece that I said, was really for me, because I do this all the time. But stop being unrealistic about how much things that I can do. And when I don't do all of these things that I do, I get disappointed. However, I'm the social worker and I'm the therapist. I have a tendency of not telling people when I'm disappointed in myself, because it's like, Willis, you got this shit. You just need to fix it. So I tell people, like, I don't know, like my girl, for instance, stop feeling bad that she can't get the laundry done today. When Willis, in reality, stop feeling bad that you weren't able to, do what you have to do. Because what you're doing, Willis, is you're putting all of these things on your list. And because you're putting all of these things on your list, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So the question for everyone, how are you setting yourself up for disappointment? What are you doing to allow disappointment to come true? Okay? All right? So as always, good looking. Ain't no wealth without your mental health. So please stay blessed. Take care of yourself. Be great, y'all. Peace.